bilingual web magazine, Dig Tokyo. 1. Prologue. Fashion and Shopping 008. Inside KAZOO's Wardrobe 6. NHK E-Tele SNS Eigojutsu #Sudan Forever. Aired April 12, 2018. 1. Prologue. For our third taping, I was finally able to loosen up just a little. I'm being given more lines, but to my great relief, I was able to get through them without any major mistakes. Today our co-host was Hide-san from the comedy duo Penalty. The commentator was Sasaki Toshinao-san. The teacher was Naito Yosuke-san. At our pre-taping meeting, Hide-san greeted me by saying, "Kazuo-san, you like your Shaoxing wine, don't you?" He was referring to the staff and crew dinner we had after we taped our pilot episode, where I drank quite a bit of Shaoxing wine. Shaoxing wine is my favorite type of alcohol. Back in college, an uncle took me to the all-you-can-eat at Dynasty, a Chinese restaurant in Hilton, Tokyo, in Shinjuku, where I had Shaoxing wine for the first time. I've been hooked ever since. Side note, my second favorite alcoholic drink is Imojochu, sweet potato shochu. Sasaki Toshinao-san is active across many media channels, so he was very natural in front of the TV camera. Although it was his first time on this show, he had presence. It was quite impressive. Former news director at the Japan Times Naito Yosuke-san seemed like a very on-the-level guy, just a tad nervous as this was his first taping for the show. Kato Ayako-san was all smiles from beginning to end, breaking the ice and easing any tension on set. 2. Light gray striped suit by Global Style. This suit, which I had made last year at Global Style, is also what I wore from my interview with director Luc Besson. The key to this suit is the lining and the buttons. The advisor at Global Style suggested something more colorful to make the most of my order, but Big Brother recommended that I go with something a little subtler. Instead of sticking with the free button options, I asked for buffalo horn buttons. As for the trousers, I ordered 2, one with a straight hem and one with a turn-up. For this episode of the show, I went with the slightly more casual turn-up. And so the trousers are not too tight around the thighs, I opted for pleats. 3. Pink button-down shirt by Difference. For this taping, I went with this pink button-down that I had made at Difference along Aoyama Dori. I went with French cuffs, which you don't see all that often. With button-down shirts, a box pleat is standard, but because of my shoulder width, I ordered mine with side pleats. It's much more comfortable when you can move your shoulders around. Difference is the pattern order tailor brand operated by Konaka since 2016, under the supervision of creative director Sato Kashiwa. Get your measurements taken for your initial order, and after that you can easily place orders via smartphone. Delivery is relatively quick as well. 4. Brown belt by Brooks Brothers. There's a belt section on the first floor of Isetan Men's, but with my waist size, selection becomes limited. This brown belt is something I bought at the tall and plus size section of the 7th floor. In the past, I was of the mindset that as long as the prong went through one of the holes on the belt, it fit. But according to Big Brother, the best fit for a belt is when the prong falls right around the 4th hole. 5. Silk knot cufflinks. Because my shirt for this episode has double cuffs, I needed cufflinks. Perhaps if I were going to wear a tie, metal cufflinks would have been in order, but since I was going with a button-down and no tie, I decided to go with silk knot cufflinks. In the past, I'd purchased silk knot cufflinks for about 2,000 yen at select shops, but you can find a variety of them online for less than 1,000 yen. I got this pair from a vendor called Cuffs Senmonten Cuff. Back when I still hadn't gotten used to how to tie a tie, I'd have to redo it over and over until I got the knot the right shape or the right overall length. It was frustrating. But it turns out trying to pass silk knot cufflinks through the buttonholes of a crisp shirt you're wearing for the first time is next to impossible. If you ever need to dress up and put on some silk knot cufflinks, make sure you give yourself plenty of time. 6. Gray socks by Brooks Brothers. Brooks Brothers products give you good value for your money. They're high quality but reasonably priced. The suit I wore for this taping was light gray, so I went with a slightly different shade of gray for my socks to create contrast. I didn't want it to look like my pants were tucked into my shoes. 7. Poe Brown Double Monk Shoes by Paraboot. Shoes are a key part of my wardrobe. For this taping, I wore a pair of brown double monk shoes from Paraboot, a model called Poe. I was drawn to the darker brown, as well as the pebble grain pattern, which gives the shoe warmth and charm. 8. Brown Glasses by Hakusan Megane. This frame from Hakusan Megane has visible metal parts, so I had assumed that it wouldn't work against our blue screen set, but after checking in with our technical crew and getting approval, I thought I'd give them a try. This is a plastic model called Glam Proto. Wanting to try something a little different from the glasses I usually wear, I went with a considerably thicker frame. On screen they look a little closer to black than the beautiful light brown they actually are. 9. Recommended Sasaki Toshinawa reading list. Hiroku yoaku tsunagatte ikiru. I think it's safe to assume everybody who experienced the Great East Japan earthquake found themselves thinking about what life meant. In my case, my parents in the US told me they thought it would be best that I return to America. This book is the conclusion Sasaki-san arrived at. Google, 既存のビジネスを破壊する. This book is over a decade old, but at the time I was trying to decide between going freelance and working as a salaryman. Reading this book helped harden my resolve to make it as a freelancer. And at that time, I wouldn't have thought in a million years that I'd one day be working with Sasaki-san. 私にはもう出版社はいらない. As he details in this book, Sasaki-san gets his opinions out through a variety of mediums. Since I was a kid, I always dreamed of publishing a book. Just one book, any book. Reading this book made me rethink the meaning of print publishing. レイヤー化する世界. What always amazes me about Sasaki-san is his foresight, his ability to envision the world 5-10 years from now. Reading this made it clear to me that the disparity that plagues our world is not a result of failure of politics, but advances in information and communications technology. キュレーションの時代、つながりの情報革命が始まる. This book, to me, represents a kind of theoretical outline for Tabilabo, a media website where Sasaki-san served as editor-in-chief. It challenges our preconceptions of what expression should be in the social media age. 簡単、なのに美味しい家飯こそ最高のご馳走である. The great thing about Sasaki-san is that he writes not only challenging non-fiction, but also recipe books like this one. I cook at home a lot, and in that regard this book has been a great companion. 10. Epilogue. Big Brother has had a high opinion of Sasaki Toshinawa for a long time now, and has read almost all of his books. According to Big Brother, Sasaki-san's ability to envision the near future is very insightful and accurate. He has high praise for his approach, which is not just about analyzing as a scholar, but making a mark as a businessman as well. Judging by Sasaki-san's work so far this year, it seems that he's interested not only in ICT in the virtual world, but also about enriching our real-world lives. Big Brother is curious to see where that goes. 1. Prologue. Fashion and Shopping 008. Inside KAZOO's Wardrobe 6. NHK E-Tele SNS Eigojutsu # Sudan Forever. Aired April 12, 2018. www.digtokyo.jp